Hi, everybody. My name is Devon. I'm a librarian at the Worcester Public Library. I'm here with another edition of Weekly Reads with my co-host and co-worker, Joy. How are you doing today, Joy?
Well, I'm a little sweaty, but just fine. And how are you?
Doing okay. We've got the air conditioning, so you need to invest in some of that.
Hi, yes, we do.
Okay, if you're new to our episodes, almost everything we're talking about, you can get online with Overdrive or Libby on your phone or device. You can also use the Overdrive browser on your laptop or desktop, whichever you're more comfortable with. And you can pick up print materials at the library now too. You just have to reserve them ahead of time. So if you want to reserve anything, or if you need to learn how to use our ebooks and downloadable audio with Libby and Overdrive, just give the library a call. So now I'm going to switch screens so that you can see the books that Joy and I have in store for you today. All right, so this is our lineup. As usual, I am going to focus on fiction, and Joy will do the nonfiction, and we have our coming soon title. So my first choice is The Guest List by Lucy Foley. As you can see, this was a Reese's book club pick. It's also a New York Times bestseller. It just came out in June last month, and it's being called a deliciously wicked thriller reminiscent of Agatha Christie. In the book, on an island off the coast of Ireland, guests gather for a wedding. Every detail has been perfectly planned. The designer dress, the remote location, the party favors, and the boutique whiskey. But perfection is for plans, and people are human. As the festivities begin, resentments and petty jealousies begin to mingle with the well-wishes. The groomsmen begin a drinking game. The bridesmaid accidentally on purpose ruins her dress. The bride's oldest male friend gives an uncomfortable toast, and then someone turns up dead. This book got a ton of great reviews. The Washington Post said, "Perhaps no one came to the island intending to murder, but the wedding spirals into mayhem when it's revealed that most everyone there could be a killer lusting for revenge." Library Journal gave it a starred review, saying fans of Agatha Christie, Louise Penny, and Ruth Rendell will absolutely love this book. And I agree because my cousin recommended this book to me, and she loves Louise Penny. So if you love Louise Penny, you probably want to give this book a shot. And here's one from Joy.
And Ruth Rendell is one of my favorites too. So
Yes, I remember you saying that.
my first choice today is Hidden Valley Road, Inside the Mind of an American Family by Robert Kolker, which came out this year and was recently selected as an Oprah book. So I am in good company. Take a look at the photograph on the cover. In 1961, the Galvin family gathered on a staircase at the U.S. Air Force Academy where the father was stationed for a photo op. Boy after boy, squeaky clean and meticulously attired, posed by size on each step until we reached their pregnant mother, Mimi, and their father, Don. How many boys? Count them, 10. Shortly thereafter, Mimi gave birth to her 11th child and first girl, Margaret, followed 3 years later by a second daughter and last child, Mary. Even at the height of the baby boom, a family of 12 was unusual. And this was not the only way in which the Galvins stood out. They raised falcons, birds of prey, in the backyard, and the children were notorious on bucolic Hidden Valley Road for their aggressive play and bitter sibling rivalry, which sometimes resulted in physical harm. This may be all very interesting, but what makes the Galvin story Oprah-worthy is the fact that one by one, as they reached adolescence, 6 of the 10 boys were diagnosed with schizophrenia, an unprecedented tragedy for the Galvin family, and an unprecedented boon for researchers committed to finding the cause and a cure for this devastating disorder. For centuries, scientists have debated, often acrimoniously, the cause or causes of schizophrenia, and each theory has reflected the social and intellectual milieu in which it was formed. demon possession, sexual repression, bad mothering, biochemical imbalances, genetic mutation? Or is schizophrenia a disease at all? Or is it merely, as some outliers have suggested, an alternative lens through which to view reality? Needless to say, scientists have never been able to reach consensus, which is what makes the Galvin family, offering as they do an invaluable opportunity to study schizophrenia from the perspective of a single family history, so important. Meanwhile, however, back on Hidden Valley Road, the 12 Galvin children and their parents struggled to navigate the nightmarish maze that is mental health in America, while coming to terms with the traumatic experience of living with a baffling and disruptive illness. I wish I could say that this story has a happy ending. Needless to say, there has not yet been a definitive breakthrough in the fight against schizophrenia. There are, however, grounds for hope. As scientists, with the help of courageous families like the Galvins, home in on a deeper understanding of the disease and work towards more effective and humane treatment, if not outright care. This is indeed an absorbing, often harrowing journey into the mind of a unique American family.
I remember reading about that book when it was going to come out. That's quite a lot for one family to handle. Okay, and here's my next fiction choice. Assassin's Apprentice. I've been wanting to talk about I've been wanting to talk about this book for so long. So this book first came out in 1995. It is book one of the Farseer trilogy. What you're looking at here is the illustrated anniversary edition, which came out on the 25th anniversary of the book being published. And that was in 2019 that the book came out. All the illustrations are in full color, done by Magali Villanueva. So, if you think that 25 years old for a fantasy book is too old for you, you might want to know that George R.R. Martin said that Robin Hobb's books are fantasy as it ought to be written. If I have your attention now, you should also know the tagline for the illustrated edition is, "This is the book that launched the epic Farseer trilogy." And it was epic. The characters became so popular that Hobb wrote them into several trilogies, allowing you to see the characters develop over time. And one of the things that I enjoy most about a really good book is the character development. If you're the same way, you definitely want to give this one a shot. So in the book, young Fitz is the bastard son of Prince Chivalry, raised in the shadow of the court by his father's stableman. He is treated as an outcast, except by King Shrewd, who has Fitz trained to be an assassin and trained in the skill, a type of magic that lets users share thoughts and strength. But Fitz also has the power to telepathically bond with animals. This older form of magic, called the wit, is distrusted and disgusts many. But for a person like me who loves animals, Fitz's ability to have conversations with animals is fantastic, and some animals become long-term characters throughout the books and the series. And then there's my favorite character in the whole series, the Fool, who is the jester at King Shrewd's court. Extremely pale and often sarcastic, the Fool appears the same age as Fitz and speaks in rhymes and riddles, some of which turn out to be prophecies. Throughout the series, and the series outside the series, you never really know if the Fool is male or female. When asked bluntly which the Fool was, the Fool answered, "Does it matter? To me, no." But the Fool is a great example of the complexity and cleverness of Hobb's characters. If you enjoy fantasy novels, I challenge you to read this book and not fall in love with it. Okay, and here's one from Joy.
Devin, do you own a copy of this book? Or do I have to go to the library to get it?
You have to get it from the library like everybody, sorry.
I guess I don't have any special privilege here. My second choice is I Know What I Am The Life and Times of Artemisia Gentileschi, in honor of the American Library Association's designation of July as Graphic Novels in Libraries Month. It took the author, Gina Siciliano, 7 years to write this, her first literary work. And the depth of her research and passion for her subject shows. I Know What I Am is a visual biography of Artemisia Gentileschi, widely considered to be Italy's greatest female artist. Through a near perfect balance of text and image, Siciliano recreates the tumultuous, misogynistic, often brutal world of Renaissance Italy as seen through the eyes of one woman determined to create art against, trust me, all odds. Artemisia was born in Rome in 1593 into a family of artists. She lost her mother at an early age and learned her trade through her father, Orazio, who encouraged her to assist him in his studio. By any measure, she lived an eventful life, particularly for a woman of her time. As a young girl, she was raped and her attacker brought to trial in a highly publicized court case, which she, or rather her father who brought suit, won. She married, bore 5 children, only 2 of whom survived into adulthood. Spent time in Florence, Venice, Naples, and England, as well as her native Rome. Witnessed the eruption of Mount Vesuvius, as well as myriad political disturbances, and rubbed shoulders with the likes of Caravaggio and Galileo. She had several lovers, some of whom were well positioned to advance her interests, as well as those of her children, coincidentally or not. And through it all, she painted. Gentileschi favored biblical subjects, among them bold, even ruthless Old Testament women like Judith, and sweeping historical scenes. And her style was so vigorous that male observers often found her work so atypical for women, a bit alarming. Siciliano's images, drawn in ballpoint pen, are intricate and detailed, and they capture the art, architecture, political, and domestic life of Renaissance Italy with precision and delicacy. Each frame is augmented by text, designed to enhance our knowledge of the era and Artemisia's lasting contribution to our artistic heritage. Do keep in mind that this is an adult graphic novel, R-rated, maybe at best, and so probably not well suited for your 7th graders' next book report.
I know this book was listed as one of 2019's best graphic novels, so it's been on my list for a while.
It's really beautiful.
It looks it. Okay, next we have our coming soon title. So this week we're featuring a horror novel. This one's coming out tomorrow, Tuesday, July 14th, and it's The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. Jones is a Blackfeet Native American author, and he's been a finalist for the Shirley Jackson and World Fantasy Awards. This book in particular is being called one of 2020's buzziest horror novels, meaning that everyone's talking about it. So we don't have a copy yet, but I do know that one is going to be ordered for the library, and hopefully we'll also be getting it on Overdrive and Libby, because it sounds really good. So the book follows 4 Native American men who, as boys, killed a pregnant deer. This event from their youth puts them and their families on a dark path. Tracked by an entity bent on revenge, the childhood friends are helpless as the culture and traditions they left catch up to them in a violent, vengeful way. The author, Jones, is known for his surreal horror, terrifying imagery, and heart-stopping twists. This book also comments on masculinity, the trauma of systemic oppression, and the negotiation between identity and culture. This book got a lot of good words from other really good authors. So Paul Tremblay, who writes horror, he wrote Head Full of Ghosts and Cabin at the End of the World. He said this book is a masterpiece. Tommy Orange, who is the Pulitzer Prize finalist author for There, There, he's also a Native American writer. He said the book is scary good, and more than he could have asked for in a novel. So between the description and all the great reviews, I'm really excited to read this one. Hopefully we'll get this in the library and online for you soon. So that brings us to the end of this week's episode. Don't forget that if there's a subject or a genre that you would like a recommendation for, you can just put it in the comments below and Joy and I will see what we can do. Otherwise, thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.
See you later, fellow readers.